Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to part 38 of where I show all my vinyl albums. Now this is the penultimate video and these last two videos will be on my David Bowie collection. So for this one I'm just going to show basically the studio albums. The next one will be the compilations, the live albums and picture discs. So we'll get going because there's quite a few here and there's quite a few doubles and triples and quadruples and a few quintuples as well. So the first one up is his debut album, and this is a double. This is actually the mono on one disc and the stereo on another from 1967. It's not a bad album at all. I would love an original, but they're far too expensive. But you do get things like Uncle Arthur, Love You Till Tuesday is my favourite track off this, and When I Live My Dreams are a really good track as well. It's actually quite a decent album, but it takes a bit of getting used to. It's nothing like what he would go on to do later. Next up is David Bowie, commonly known as Space Oddity, from 1969, and this is a brilliant album with Space Oddity, the Wild-Eyed Boy from Free Cloud, Almost and Somewhat Slightly Dazed, and my favourite track is Signet Committee. Is a 9-minute piece of genius, actually brilliant. So we also have the remix of that album, which is not bad, but one thing I do like about this is they added an extra track, Conversation Piece, which I think works really well and possibly should have been on the original album. The version of Signet Committee on this I'm not as keen on. Well, it's the same version, it's just a remix. I just don't think it works. I think the problem with these remix albums is you're so used to the originals that it's hard to take a remix. Also I have this here, Space Oddity. Now this is the 1972 reissue, and yeah, same tracks really. It's on the orange RCA, and this one here is the first one I got, which is on the black RCA, but very good album. Then we have The Man Who Sold the World with the fantastic title track, The Width of a Circle, All the Madmen, Black Country Rock, The Supermen. Really strong album. And this one here is the cover for America, known as a cartoon cover. Now this is not an original, this is actually a Long John Silver, let's call it that, which is very commonly available. This one here is the remix album. Every track was remixed apart from After All, and they called it Metropolis, and this came out a couple of years ago, and the remix of that is actually really good. This one here is the 1972 reissue with a kick cover, and this is on the orange label RCA. The first one I ever got was this one here, which is the black RCA label. And this one here is actually another one of those pirates, and this is on I think it's an orange vinyl, and you know it's a pirate because one label says Man Who Sold the World, and then the next when you turn over the disc, the label is actually Aladdin Sane label. So I picked it up at a record fair. Hunky Dory, and my original, it's on the orange label RCA, and this is the album that changes. Life on Mars, Quicksand, Queen Bitch, Bewley Brothers, really good. And this one here is the Parlophone reissue on gold vinyl. We have The Rise and Fall of Ziggy, Stardust, Spiders from Mars on RCA orange. And this has 5 Years, Soul Love, Moon Age Daydream, Starman, absolutely classic album, Suffragette City, Ziggy. And this one here is on, no, this one's actually the Half Speed Master, and yeah, this sounds really good, released a couple of years ago. And this one is on the gold vinyl, both Parlophone albums. Right, Aladdin Sane, and this is the first Aladdin Sane I ever got, and I bought it in 1980. It's on orange RCA, but This is a single sleeve, it's a non-gatefold sleeve, and this is the album with Driving Saturday, Gene Genie, Watch That Man, Panic in Detroit, Time, Lady Grinning Soul. Fantastic album. This one is a French gatefold sleeve that I got in the very early 80s, and yeah, it's not in great nick though. And this one is silver vinyl version that came out a few years ago on the Parlophone label, or the Parlophone Mock RCA label. This one here is the first issue in the Parlophone Mock RCA label, and this is the one that actually has the little fan club leaflet in it. And here we have the Half Speed Master, which is the most recent version. I told you I've got quite a few of these. And this one here is Pinups, and this is the first version I got on black RCA. This is great with Sorrow, Rustling, Here Comes the Night, See Emily Play, Where Have All the Good Times Gone, and the fantastic version of I Can't Explain. This one is the Half Speed Master, a recent purchase. This one here is Orange RCA, which I always wanted this in an orange RCA because I don't like the black RCA label. And this one here is another one on orange RCA, but the font is slightly more different on the actual label itself, so it must be something like a Portuguese or whatever. And another one on orange RCA. So why I've got all these, I do not know. Then we have the greatest album of all time, and this is Diamond Dogs, and this is orange RCA, but it wasn't the first one I got. Now this has got Diamond Dogs, Sweet Thing Candidate, Sweet Thing Reprise, Rebel Rebel, 1984, Big Brother, best album ever. This is the first version I ever got, and it's on the black RCA. I got it in 1981. And this one here is the reissue on the Parlophone Mock RCA label. And this one here is the coloured vinyl, red coloured vinyl, which again came out not so long ago. And lastly, for Diamond Dogs, the Half Speed Master, which is the most recent of the issues. Okay, we go on to Young Americans, another brilliant album with Young Americans, Fame, Right, Win, Across the Universe, and this is my original that I got in 81, and it is on orange RCA. This one here is the reissue on Parlophone, and you see the cover's slightly duller. And then we have another issue, but this time on gold vinyl. Yeah, I actually forgot that I had that. And I'm going to include this as well. This is the Gouster. Now this came out in the box set for Who Can I Be Now. Now I don't have any of the Bowie vinyl box sets, but I do have them in CD. But I really wanted this, and I was checking eBay, and one guy was selling this off. He obviously split the box and started to sell the individual albums, and I managed to snag a couple of different albums from different box sets, which I'll be showing. But this is a good album as well. It's very similar to Young Americans, but it does have Who Can I Be Now, and It's Gonna Be Me, and John I'm Only Dancing Again on it. And there's another album come up in the next video, which is includes a couple of more songs from these sessions. I did a video actually a few months back on the Ultimate Gouster album, which would have been a double Young Americans really, but yeah, it's a good album. And then we have Station to Station, and yeah, only 6 tracks on this. The title track, Golden Years, Word in the Wing, TBC 15, Stay, and Wild as the Wind. Really good album, and this is my first version I got in 81, orange RCA. And then a reissue on the Parlophone Mock RCA. And this one here is the coloured vinyl version on red vinyl. I actually wanted white, and you didn't know which one you were getting. It was potluck, and unfortunately I got red, but still, it's okay. And then here's another one that came from the box set that I managed to get individually, and this is the Harry Maslin remix album from, I think it was 2010. And yeah, they used the colour version of the cover, which Ryko started using. I prefer the original black and white one, but yeah, it's a decent enough remix and it's nice to have on vinyl. Next one up is Low, my original from 1980, and yeah, it's a good album as well. Speed of Life, Breaking Glass, Sound and Vision, New Career, New Town, Be My Wife, Warzawa. Very good album, very experimental album, very influential album. And then the orange vinyl reissue on Parlophone. Heroes, which I actually prefer to Low. Although I didn't at the start, I always preferred Low, but now I do actually prefer Heroes, with the title track, Blackout, Joe the Lion, The Brilliant Secret Life of Arabia, and I love the instrumentals on this, Sense of Doubt, Moss Garden, and Yukun, I think is how you pronounce it, I'm not sure, but yeah, I got this 1980 orange RCA, and this is a reissue on silver vinyl, and it's very good. And this one here is a little bit of an oddity, and is Bowie narrating the story Peter and the Wolf on one side of the disc, and the second side is Young Person's Guide to Orchestra by Eugene Ormandy. I've played side one once, probably never play it again, but it's nice to have in the collection. Lodger, and my original version of it, and I bought this in 1980. I actually got this for Christmas in 1980 on the orange RCA. Tracks like Red Seals, Boys Keep Swinging, DJ Look Back in Anger, Fantastic Voyage. Really good and underrated album. And the reissue on Parlophone. So yeah, very good. And I've also got this here, which is the remix album, which came in the box, A New Career and A New Town, so I managed to snag it as well. And this is every bit as good. I actually do like this remix, because I always thought that the Lodger album itself was maybe a little bit muddy, but Tony Visconti, who remixed this, he changed the ending a little bit of Boys Keep Swinging, which annoys me, but it is a much crisper, cleaner sounding album. And then we get Scary Monsters, which I got whenever it came out in 1980, with It's No Game, number 1, Up the Hill Backwards, Scary Monsters, Ashes Dashes, Fashion, Teenage Wildlife. Really good album, and it is on the new black RCA label. This one here is a Portuguese version, and I bought this extremely cheap, and the only reason I bought it was because this was actually printed on the orange RCA label, but it sounds dreadful. However, this one here is a German version, and this is on the orange RCA label as well, and this sounds really, really good. And actually the fold out that you got in the original UK one, there's actually an inner bag for this one, which I think is even nicer. So that's my go-to copy now. Let's Dance from 83 on EMI America. I got this when it came out, with China Girl, Mother in Love, the title track, Ricochet, Shake It. Really good album, really good pop album. That's the only copy I have of that album. And the same with this one, Tonight from 84, with Tonight, Blue Jean, Loving the Alien, Don't Look Down, The Dreadful, God Only Knows, Dancing with the Big Boys. It's not a brilliant album, but it's not bad. And then we have the soundtrack to Labyrinth. Now this is the original version. I got this when it came out, and it's got the full version of Magic Dance on it, as well as Underground and The Beautiful As the World Falls Down. I'm including this in the studio albums because there's quite a few Bowie songs on it. Other soundtracks will be in the next video. Never Let Me Down, not a brilliant album from 87, although I do like Day In Day Out and Glass Spider. And this is the version with Too Dizzy on it, which was taken off all ones after, I think 1995 or something like that there. But yeah, it's okay. And then we have Never Let Me Down 2018, whenever all the instrumentation was taken off, obviously Bowie's vocals remained, and Reeves Gabriel's sort of rebuilt the songs. It works for some of them, but not for all of them. But yeah, it's a very, very interesting listen. But one thing I will say is I do prefer that cover. And again, that's another one that I got from the box set. It wasn't released individually. Tin Machine, brilliant album from '89 with Tin Machine, Crack City, Prisoner of Love, Bus Stop, amazing, Working Class Hero, excellent. Tin Machine 2, a little bit disappointing, although I do like this more now than I did then, but it has the track Goodbye Mr. Red on it, which I think is Tin Machine's best ever song. You Belong in Rock and Roll, and Shopping for Girls is very good. Baby Universal was the second single. And then the reissue a couple of years ago on silver vinyl. They say it's silver, but it just looks grey to me. Black Tie White Noise, which is not one of my favourites either, although again I'm starting to enjoy this a lot more. Now this is the original vinyl version, which knocks out a few songs, so this actually starts with You Been Around rather than the wedding song. It's all on one disc on very thin vinyl, but then the reissue actually follows the track listing of the CD, which is better because it starts with the wedding song. It's not a bad album, it's quite jazzy in places. And then we get Flippido Suburbia from 1993, and this failed to chart probably because nobody knew it was a David Bowie album unless they turned it around, and this was mostly CD. Now this here itself is another one of those pirates on vinyl, but it is a good album. The title track's very good, along with Strangers When We Meet, Dead Against It, Ian Fish UK Air. It is a very good album, and I do prefer this to Black Tie White Noise. And then the recent reissue with the US cover. Well, it's not quite the US cover. US cover was in black and white, but it's the same picture, but it's nice to have. And then we have excerpts from Outside. Now this does not have all the same songs as the CD. There's some songs missing, hence it's called Excerpts from Outside. But yeah, this is a good album with Heart's Filthy Lesson, which I absolutely love. Outside itself is really good. I Have Not Been to Oxford Town, really good. But No Control is not on that Excerpts album, but it is on the recent issue just called Outside, and this just follows the same track listing as the CD. Earthling, possibly my least favourite Bowie album because it's all drum and bass. Some of the songs are very good, but the sound of drum and bass I'm not a big fan of, but it does have Looking for Satellites on it, Little Wonder, and 7 Years in Tibet. It's okay, but it's still probably my least favourite. And then Ours, very underrated album with Thursday's Child, Survive, Seven, and the one I really like is The Pretty Things Are Going to Hell, which sounds just like Tin Machine. And then we have Toy, and now this is another one of these pirates, and this came out before it was actually officially released, and I can remember it being dropped on the internet through the torrent sites at the time. Managed to snag a download of it, couldn't believe I did, but yeah, it's a decent album. But this version here has Uncle Floyd and Afraid on it, which both of those tracks got on to Heathen. Well, Uncle Floyd became Slipaway, but I think that was originally the way it was supposed to be. But the actual full reissue, and this one here with a dreadful, dreadful cover, doesn't include those new songs. But you know, this is basically songs that were re-recorded by David Bowie. For example, I Dig Everything, The London Boys, Karma Man, Conversation Piece, Shadow Man. So basically late 60s, early 70s songs, and he re-recorded it. And it was supposed to come out in the year 2000, but never did, and it only came out 2 years ago. It's also available on 10-inch as well, 10-inch box set, which I got first. And then Heathen, a very good album from 2002 with Slow Burn, Cactus, Heeding the Rays, and my favourite is A Better Future. Absolutely love that track. And then Reality, another really good album, this time from 2003, with You Killer Star, Pablo Picasso, The Brilliant Never Get Old, Days, Fall Dog Bombs the Moon, brilliant album again. And then in 2013, The Next Day, double album with The Next Day, Love Is Lost, Where Are We Now, top 10 hit for him. And my favourite track of this is You Feel So Lonely, You Could Die, really really good song. And then lastly, Blackstar with the title track, and 'Tis a Pity She Was a Whore, Lazarus. A very good album, although I do prefer The Next Day. So that's the first part of my David Bowie collection. I hope you enjoyed that, and the next one I'll start off probably the live albums, and then after that is a break for me. So until then, all the best now. Bye bye.